displayed across the darkened overhead. The windows and ticket booths are boarded up, but for some reason, something is beckoning me to push past the barriers. My ears prick, and I hear muted sound from the theater flow out onto the streets and lighten up the darkened haze that has fallen around them. I push past the rustic and broken glass panels of the venue's revolving doors, and now recognize the sound of a piano being played as I travel throughout the lobby and out to open the main auditorium doors. I feel the aura of a mausoleum around me, but the doors to the stage are prompt and wide open, as if enticing anyone to step in. I start walking down the steps to come closer to the stage, running a hand over the dusty red velvet seats of the audience. Cobwebs hang like drapes from the balconies, and I half expect a chandelier to fall dramatically at any moment, even though none reside on the ceiling existing some 30 feet above my head. I find my source of music, and the culprit seems to be a pianist, manipulating the keys of a weathered baby grand piano. The artist has a ghostly aura, and a shadow seems to emanate off her pale gown, and her hair floats with a silver blue shimmer down her back. I stop. I stand near the middle of the theater aisle, as to not disturb her, but then realize she doesn't seem to have taken any notice to my presence at all. I approach her more, intrigued to find the method of her concentration, and then I come to a realization. She is blind. With the tops of her head back during her ritualistic playing, I see her eyes are wide open. I know the pale ice blue of a dead man. Still, she gives no indication of her disability, and plays relentlessly as if in a trance. I study her mesmerized. Suddenly, the spell of audience and artist is broken, as we seem to have company that barges noisily into the theater. They are a group of teenagers, and I can only see the back of their figures as they bound down the aisles and trick amusingly in an attempt to clamor on the pianist. I would think this would be enough to break anyone's concentration. I've been released from my trance, but surprisingly, this is not the case for her. She only seems to subdue herself more heavily into music, and begins pounding rebelliously and violently against the keys as if to combat their disruption. I call out and curse to the youth in authority, but it does no good. They retract into the pianist as if she were a Pied Piper and begin to swarm atop the piano. Their behavior is feral, and only now that I see their faces do I realize the extent of the danger that I'm in. Their flesh is pale and ghoulish, but not in an elegant way like the theater's enchantress. It is torn and stained with blood that still leaks from their gaping unhealing wounds. There is blood leaking from their gaping mouths, their clothes are torn, and their eyes are white, and I shiver in terror and fascination from the thought that they are victims of a mauling, that they are maulers. One of them reaches to rip a chunk out of the pianist's neck with the force of a Rottweiler, but still she does not stop. She plays and pounds, as for repelling their attacks, or possibly serenading them. Not even the mind of her justice will draw her away from finishing her piece, but she would ever finish in this eternity. I am now running. I don't know if I'm running to save my own life, or to seek help for hers, but all I can feel is a sense of urgency and adrenaline in my body to escape with my newfound discovery and screech it throughout the misted streets. But there's no one there. The streets have changed to be littered and stocking with bodies, with no souls inhabiting them. As erotic and chaste as it seems now, I can strangely still hear the music, the eternal haunting music. I try to run against a street of corpses, but I suddenly turn around. I am being pulled back, against my will, against my judgment, my call, but I cannot refuse. It feels as if I am being summoned. I return to the theater to witness the enchantress's demise. But it's left of her limbs is readily getting the keys, never stopping, never opening her mind and senses to the horrors that suddenly seem to be devouring her. The spell returns. I didn't know the melody has turned a frantic noises mixed with the screeches of zombified spectators. It compels me all the same. I believe the last emotion I experience is a sense of hopelessness mixed with a strange euphoria. One of the beasts has turned its sights on me and attacks, beginning my morning with a single crunch to my jugular. A dark green shroud falls from my eyesight as the poison takes its toll. Then I am crossed over into a realm of infection. I will soon know the taste of human flesh.
Stephanie? Stephanie! Steph, come on, wake up! I slowly rose out of my craving for human flesh. The visions of
burying my teeth and feasting until I was so happy I could die a second, unfeasible zombie death, blurred away, and then replaced by the sensation of my roommate rocking me out of slumber as I was sprawled out and drooling over the final draft of my music theory essay.
Steph, you've been working on this thing since yesterday. Don't you ever take a break from anything?
She reprimanded me in concern. I sighed, since this was one of the umpteenth times I've been chided over my obsessive habits. When I get absorbed into a project, there's a constant compulsion of mine to be continuously consumed in it, until other things inspired my attention elsewhere. But whether it was my schoolwork at NYU or my own artistic aspirations, it could not be helped. Cold, continuously driven.
Were you having a nightmare?
My roommate asked, perplexed.
When I came home, you were tossing and turning on the table, murmuring, and I swear your fingers were moving like you were trying to claw out someone's throat or claw out a piano or something. What were you dreaming about?
I wiped a musical and spit off my lips and twirled a strand of my chocolate hair and thought, trying to tap into my most subconscious recent adventure. It's always so inconvenient when you can't recall a possible source of inspiration after waking, even though the dream may have seemed so clear moments ago. Foggily, the sound of piano began to echo in my mind like an out-of-tune radio broadcast, and an essence of teenage flesh eaters and ghostly Beethoven thrown against my muse. I tried to find the words to describe exactly what I had seen, and reinterpreted the rehearsal completely